Gwyndaf Evans has taken the rally scene by storm in this, his first season in the top flight Group A cars. Last year, he won the Shell Oil's Group N British Open Championship and then moved up to the more powerful cars. Already this year, he's won the British Midland Ulster event and has finished constantly in the top 6. But you couldn't get a greater contrast between his rallying exploits and his day-to-day job. He drives a school bus, and the only hint of a comparison is the obvious concentration that he has when behind the wheel of any vehicle. It's difficult to imagine that this quietly spoken personality is one of the best rally drivers around, but his determination is evident, and while he safely carries the pupils of Dolgellau and Dinas Mawddwy to and from school, his thoughts are now on the roads of the Isle of Man. But his win in Ulster made people sit up and take notice that Gwyndaf had arrived.
Primarily, I wanted to gain as much experience as I could from Group A rally driving. It's my first year in Group A, and you know, if I could come competitive amongst the best in Britain as well, that would be a bonus.
So, are you happy or slightly disappointed that you just one win?
I'm delighted, of course I am. I mean, there's you know, to win one in the first season really was the icing on the cake. We were very pleased to finish regularly amongst the top 5 in Britain, so to win one was really good.
But another Welshman, David Llywelyn, is favourite to take this year's championship. After winning the Welsh, he needs a second place in his last 2 events for overall victory.
It is a very competitive team that I am in. Realistically, we didn't think we were going to be in the position to win the championship. And it's just nice that we've proven to be competitive to the level we are. Therefore, I'd be delighted for David to win the championship. At least it'd be one Welshman winning it. I just hope maybe we can do it 1 too.
You're a fairly shy, mild-mannered sort of bloke. So what happens when you get behind the wheel of a rally car? Do you change your character totally?
To some extent, I would say, although I still try and stay as cool. I think that can only help if you can stay cool, but there is a bit of aggression that comes in, of course.
And do you feel that that is something, perhaps a competitive edge to the driving, is something that you've had to develop?
It's luckily something that I've had in me, which I haven't had to work too hard on. It's something I've had to work harder at controlling it, believe it or not. You know, if you go too aggressive, then that can become a problem.
Problems, however, have been few and far between for him. Apart from that win in Ulster, one of his proudest moments came when he and co-driver Howard Davis finished 4th in the Welsh when he pushed the leaders all the way. Gwyndaf has come a long way since he first started banger racing, and when he started rallying seriously 8 years ago, he scored 8 straight wins out of 11 races. His distinctive Brooklyn Motorsport Sierra Cosworth is a far cry from those days. Now that he has the backing of a full rallying team, he can concentrate on his driving. He's still a private entry, of course, which makes his achievements even more remarkable. When he's not driving buses, Gwyndaf looks after the family garage business. He's been around cars all his life, and it's what first kindled his interest and passion in them. He admits that he has cooled down a lot from his reckless earlier days, and that he now drives far more cautiously, but with the same amount of enthusiasm. When he returns from each rally, he's not allowed to rest on his laurels. He has a lot of work to catch up on to make sure that he can go to that next event. And there's no doubt that being around cars all day helps his rallying.
I believe that it benefits me in more than one ways. Of course, the most important benefit is the fact that working in a garage, I've learned to understand motor cars and how they work and what different components do. And obviously, if we get problems on the special stage, obviously I've got an idea at least what to look for. And it also has been a help in developing and sorting the car out, basically, in getting it better.
So how do you manage to balance your life between running the garage and driving in the rallies?
Basically, it's been quite hectic this season, but I can assure you that there hasn't been a dull moment. It has been difficult, but I've been lucky for a very supportive family, and the lads who's working for me, they're very good. I can depend on them to keep the show going in my absence. So, you know, it hasn't been so bad.
So what sort of things have you been up to in the run-up to this Isle of Man event?
Well, the Isle of Man event is the major round of the championship, and it's a round of the European Championship, and that in itself allows 17 days of wrecking in the build-up to the rally. So we're trying to do as many days as we can over, as many days as we can spare to go there, and that in itself is quite a demanding hard work.
So how does that work out practically? I mean, it must cost a huge amount of money to run a team for all these events.
Yes, you are obviously, it's peanuts compared to Formula One racing, but it's a lot of money. You're talking, I would say, minimum of £10,000 an event, and to me that's a lot of money.
And what about a sort of backup do you have then? What sort of team do you have behind you?
Well, it's the Brooklyn team from Redditch that runs the car this season, and it consists of about 12 people and 3 or 4 vehicles. That entails 2 support vans and 2 support vehicles. So it's quite a big team.
What sort of pressure does that put you under then when you're actually driving, knowing that you've got all these people behind you, and if something goes wrong, that if you make a mistake, that you could be letting them down?
True. Having said that, Brooklyn have been very good to me. They've told me, they had faith in me because I was involved with them last year, and they just told me, just go out and enjoy yourselves, and hopefully success will come if you enjoy yourselves. And having said that, it does entail pressure on you, but you've got to live and cope with that.
And what about the car itself?
Well, it's a works loaned car, Ford Sierra Cosworth Group A. It's with a 16-valve twin-cam Cosworth engine, which develops 300 brake horsepower, and a Gatrac 5-speed gearbox, close ratio gearbox. And basically, we don't aim for maximum miles per hour, for example. We just aim for ultimate acceleration and drivability and torque from the vehicle. Therefore, gearing, depending on the actual event, is geared to something around 120 mile an hour. But acceleration, on the other hand, we aim for as close to 4 seconds to 0 to 60 as we can.
Gwyndaf has a mathematical chance of winning the championship outright. The worst he could finish, barring mishaps, is 3rd. So a good performance in the next races, and there could be a Welsh 1 and 2 at the end of the season. But whatever the outcome, the rallying world is going to see a lot more from Gwyndaf Evans.